a day after the FKF President Nick Mwendo announced his comeback, and the Federation Kenya Premier League clubs have come out to say they will not compete in any league that is not sanctioned by the world governing FIFA body. And now we are joined by our very own Davis Mberia just to get the development story on the state of football, Kenyan football. Good afternoon, Davis. How is this panning out today, if you can hear me?
Well, thank you very much, my colleague Winnie Maganga, there in studio. I'm getting you so well. I'm actually right now following up a story that is developing concerning the Kenyan football, and right now I'm being joined by Nairobi City Stars CEO Patrick Korir just to share what actually they came out to talk about concerning the Kenya Premier League. There were 18 actually CEOs who are representing their clubs and talking about matters concerning the league kicking off, and actually what are their actually mandate and what they expect from the league. Remember, last year, 11 months ago, FKF president was actually, the federation was disbanded by the ministry led by Waziri Amina Mohamed, and the caretaker committee took in, which transitioned into the FKF transitional committee. So they have come out to talk about they're not actually going to compete in a league that is not sanctioned by the world football governing body, FIFA. Thank you very much, CEO, for joining us today. You guys have come together just to talk about the league, and we saw the transition committee coming out to postpone the league for the third time. Maybe we start from there. How was the last season, maybe?
The last season, thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes.
The last season had a lot of challenges that we cannot ignore anymore. The league, after 5 rounds, the league was taken over. There was a break of about 2-3 weeks, and we continued playing under a whole new dispensation. And we continued playing right to the end of the league. Tusker won it, overtook Homeboys in the last 3 games. They did a commendable job to come from behind, considering in the first 10 games they were 18 points behind Homeboys. But eventually they nicked them to the title on goal difference. But then, when you win the league, you're supposed to represent the country continentally. So you're supposed to qualify for CAF Champions League. But alas, Tusker could not. Why? Because the league was not recognized by FIFA. And along the way, there was a ban that came, and that ban came with everything. It locked us out of international football, continental football, everything. To an extent, even a local club cannot go to the next country and play a friendly game. You're totally banned, and all the member associations are told, do not associate with Kenya while they're under the ban. So you want to play a friend with someone, and they tell you, no, you're under FIFA ban. So you stay in your country, I stay in my country. Now the next league is supposed to start. Teams are preparing. I can actually tell you if the league started today, all teams are ready. Most of the teams are ready. But now we cannot go into a league that have exactly unanswered concerns from the last one. What are these concerns I'm talking about? One, there's a lot of insecurity. I went out of town in a top-of-the-table clash where the officiating was so poor, and that is one of the issues we're talking about. Very poor officiating. No checks and balances. The referee will do anything, and there's nothing you can do about it. He can determine the results even before the game begins. There is nothing you can do about it. There is nobody to go to complain about. Security issues. There are games that are classified high risk, medium risk, low risk. High risk games, you find 2-3 policemen or women. They're supposed to be 20-30. They are not. What do you do about it? You play at risk because no particular effort has been put to make your players secure, to make teams secure. So you play by the grace of God. Some venues were banned, others were left, which have no perimeter fence. People stand right by the edge of the pitch. It is insecure for players to play in such a scenario. Nothing happened. Player transfers were done illegally. You're told to send an email so that a player can be transferred from club A to club B. That is not proper. There is a system where I make a request for your player, So it means I need to have an agreement with you. So you accept it once I have an agreement with you. Then we complete the transfer on the system. Why is that important? It's important because eventually if a player gets to leave City Stars and go abroad, that transfer by virtue of being in the system, it means it's traceable and it appears on the player passport. So that when the solidarity fee that comes, the clubs can gain. Now, if the transfer are not being done in the system, it exposes the player first, because anything can happen to him in his new club. But if it was to be tracked, he does not appear to have transferred to that new club. So all those concerns, I mentioned earlier, and something I want to emphasize, that games were determined even before they began. I'm talking about match fixing. That is a very serious occurrence in our league. And unfortunately, that cut across from the top league to the bottom league, where games were determined even before they started. And nothing happened to them. So we are saying we need to go into a league that is properly structured and constituted. It needs to have judicial bodies where if I have a complaint, I will complain officially and my case will be heard and determined before I play the next game. Referees committee that only places qualified referees to officiate games. And lastly, we need to have a league that has a proper leagues and competitions committee that can audit the league. What am I talking about? If a player has 5 yellow cards, they should miss the 6th game. If a player has red card, straight red card, they should miss 2 games. Let me tell you what was happening. A player is red carded, but he plays the next game. Who does the checks and balance? No one. So that means if you do the audit of the last league, there were so many things that were done wrong that league will not pass an audition. Yeah. So do we want to go to the next league with the same issues? We are saying no. It needs to be recognized by FIFA such that if there's a winner, they can represent the country continentally.
Maybe for someone will ask as a football stakeholder, yesterday we witnessed FKF President Nick Mwendwa coming out and actually going to open the Kandanda House offices. Maybe on your side, does it mean you're siding with him because he is recognized by the world governing body FIFA?
Not particularly. What happened yesterday, we got to see it on TV, we got to see it on social media. City Stars is a member of the federation. I have no communication from the federation that they've reopened. I am waiting for that communication. Now, to say that we've met to say we were siding with the federation is wrong. Reasons being, and I'll give you examples, in 2006, the federation was banned. But guess what? The leagues went on. You know why? The league was being run by an entity that was not affected by the ban of the federation. Now, when the league was banned, there was a normalization committee. Now, normalization committee is recognized by FIFA. So if they're to continue running the league, it means that league is authentic. So see, we are not taking sides here. We're just saying whoever runs the league, and that's the point we're trying to drive, needs to have, to be sanctioned by FIFA, needs to have an authority or the backing of FIFA. So that's why I've given you that example. A normalization committee, therein, the leagues continued running. And at the end of the day, the winner was recognized and could play continentally.
Maybe for someone will ask, in the past we saw Waziri Amina Mohamed coming out saying there are some talks that are going on with the FIFA just to see how we can compete continentally and even in the World Cup qualifiers matches. Maybe were you guys briefed about any talks that were going on, and if the two parties will want to have a meeting with you guys, are you available?
Meeting will be welcome because it's for the sake of the clubs and particularly for the sake of the players. Because if anything happens and football can be played, it's the players who get affected. They're the biggest stakeholder. Now, we've heard about those talks. But then we're also alive to the fact that there's been a correspondence from FIFA which was shared publicly on social media. And it gave 2 conditions. 1, do away with the caretaker committee and reopen the secretariat. So we don't know what talks these are because we are not savvy to that conversation. But then when you look at the letter, it seems that what we're being told and what we're reading are different scripts. But nonetheless, if there are any talks that will lead to a ban, to the lifting of the suspension, that would be very welcome to all of us as stakeholders. And that's what we want for our game.
Have you had any communication, maybe a meeting concerning the postponement of the kickoff?
We just saw letters floating around that says the league have been postponed. That's all that we have.
How can you rate the two bodies, the FKF and the transitional committee that has been given the mandate by the government?
I'll be very clear-cut on this one. All the concerns I'm talking about, it is while the leagues were being run by the caretaker committee. From where I sit, you had an entity of people who think they know, but they actually do not know how to run this game. The dynamics of running the leagues, the rules behind the leagues, and the constitution that exists. Now that's why we have all these concerns. The Federation has a very clear structure. And I can tell you, when I was in the NSL in 2019-2020, a report was done of the league. And guess what? There's not a single case that went to the tribunal. Not a single club went to the tribunal. What does that tell you? All matters that arose were handled by the leagues and competitions. There were a few walkovers here and there, but no one went to the tribunal. Fast forward 3 years later, I think half the teams in the NSL have cases in the tribunal. Ask yourself why.
Maybe your parting shot to fans, to other football stakeholders, and as Nairobi City Stars CEO, what can you say?
We are a whole new entity. We changed our recruitment policy. We got 10 new lads from the lower division, 6 of them from Div 1, another 4 from the NSL. So we are a whole new team. You'll see another very vibrant team, very expectant boys who want to prove themselves. And watch out.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was the Nairobi City Stars CEO, Patrick Korir, just trying to share about what really happened today. And he has talked about going out to play in a league that is well structured and sanctioned by the football, the World Football Governing Body, FIFA. And actually, this came out yesterday, finding out that the FKF offices were opened. And after that, actually, we saw the Ministry of Sports led by Ambassador Mina Mohammed saying this was against the law of the structured football. And we'll be following up on the story just to give out what will really happen concerning the Transitional Committee has postponed the kickoff of the 2022-2023 season for the 3rd time. So we will be waiting. Remember yesterday, FKF President Nick Mwendwa said, told players, administrators, stakeholders just to tighten their belts and get ready for the kickoff of the National League and other leagues in the Division 1, in the NSL and other grassroots leagues. So we will be following up on the story, Winnie Maganga, to give our viewer the best that we have. Back to you.